Work, kids, chores, and no room for love? Hey guys, this is Cafe Negro Show. This is your host, George.
And this is Adriana. Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for your support. We're almost 7,000 strong subscribers here at YouTube. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about some things, how to be intentional when it comes to love in your marriage. There's some dangerous effects of not being intentional and a lot of value of making time for each other. So, let's just jump right into it. You know, the title, Work, Kids, Chores, and No Room for Love. In our case, we're married 15 years, and if I think back from the beginning of our marriage, it seemed to be a little easier back then. We didn't have as many chores, definitely no kids. We always worked hard, but even we worked together. So there was a lot of time for us to spend with each other, a lot of freedom to enjoy the weekends, and not that many responsibilities.
We have amazing weekends.
We did.
We still do, but I'm saying back then.
Correct. But now, and that's kind of just going into what we're trying to talk about is that we went from that season, and little by little, it just seems to get a little more busier. We went from buying a home to starting our family, having babies, and then trying to dive into business. And little by little, our schedule got so full that we noticed we had to do something about it because the weeks would go by and we wouldn't even have time for a date. So that's the big question. Is there room for love?
Yes, when I hear work, kids, and chores, for me, I just see the word or full-time in every single one. Because as you were saying, it's definitely gotten a lot busier from when we started. And we've always worked full time. We've never stopped that. So that is something that is, living here in the U.S., something that we just do all the time. We work. And then kids, as anyone that has kids can tell you, is also a full-time job. Even, when they're babies, now that they're 7 and 10, there's just different things that come up, but it still feels like a full-time job. And with chores, also full-time, there's always something to do in the house. And at least my mentality is with each one of those is get ahead. If I can just do a little bit more work now, I can get ahead for later. If I could clean this today, I won't have to do it the next day. But the truth is that the Bible says that there is a time for everything, right? There is a time to work, there is a time for chores, and there's also, there's time for you to spend time with your kids. So it's learning how to prioritize those things, which, there was a time in our lives that we got so indulged in the other stuff that we were not prioritizing our relationship, not leaving any room for love.
And how important it is to be intentional with that, right? So I guess, we didn't realize how important it was to make time for our relationship. Do you think that, actually, before I get into that, we were putting some of the word into it. It does seem like we can advance more if we just focus on the chores that are ahead of us, right? And like you said, sometimes you're like, let me just finish cleaning the house so that I don't have to worry about tomorrow. And it might take me an extra 30 minutes, an extra 40 minutes, but maybe if I finish this now, then give me more time tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and something else comes up, and now
you didn't really get ahead.
Yeah, you didn't get ahead. What you ended up doing is just you added more time in your daily schedule for chores, thinking that you were trying to get ahead. But one thing we notice is the best way to get ahead, the best way to make it strong in life is to do it together. So if you want to get ahead, it is important for us to invest in each other. So it's not just you and it's not just me, it's the two of us. The Bible says two are better than one. In Ecclesiastes, or how do you say that in English? Ecclesiastes. Chapter 4, verse 19 to 12, it says, two are better than one. If either of them falls down, one can help the other, and so on and so on. And it talks about how, important it is. And then at the end, it gives us an analogy of a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. That's how important God sees the relationship between a husband and a wife, and He sees the value of how much more we can do, how beneficial it is. Because obviously in life, up and downs, but having that other person gives it that somebody that can help us stand up again, and it's just gonna keep us stronger.
Yes, and I think just two are better than one, right? That phrase right there, when we first started dating and stuff like that, I mean, I feel like I was always kind of very independent. I wanted to do things on my own, but I also believe that God, and I know that God has somebody, right? That has somebody for everyone, has your partner. So two better than one. Like, first thing is that you have to follow like God. You have to listen to God, because He has that special someone. The world will tell you that you can do things on your own, that is a better way. But first, listen to God, because God will put you together with the right person that will make you thrive. So yes, definitely two are better than one. And the Bible says in the same verse, right? It says two are better than one because they have good return for their labor. And that is just obvious, right? Because when two are working in a field, right, two are going to get more accomplished than one person, which is like in a marriage, right? Like we're going to acquire more by us working together than we're trying to do our own separate things.
So obviously, can love sustain itself, right? So, okay. And so we're talking about, being intentional on our marriage. What does that look like in real life? Like, what does that look like for us? Like, how does being intentional, what did that look like in our relationship?
In the beginning, I feel like it was very easy, pre-kids. It was very easy to be intentional with our relationship. It was easy to plan dates. It was easy to just plan, just anything that was to invest in our relationship. It was way easier to go out pre-kids. But after you have kids, that almost in the beginning, especially for new parents, that can almost overtake like your life. And it's of course you want to be good parents. That's not, and everything is new. So then your kids take priority, and then your relationship takes the back seat. And it's kind of like you have to be intentional. So for us, I think it just took us kind of realizing that we were almost kind of like roommates. We're like just basically focusing on the kids. We were not going out like we used to, and we were definitely fighting a lot more than we used to. But it's because I craved that attention that you gave me before. I was the only one, and now I had to share my attention. So first is realizing it, which can be difficult. I think for us it was quite a while, right, before we noticed that our relationship took a back seat for a little bit.
I mean, it's just so, and it's because we thought we were doing, what is right. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely seasons, right? And when you first have your children and their babies, it's a different season. But going from a season of having all that time for each other, and like you said, we could just schedule a weekend for the two of us without having to really think of too many barriers, to going to having a full-time schedule with children, and then you're thinking that listen, we just give them all the time, give them all the attention, all the things that they need. That's the right thing to do. But one thing that Pastor Neva's wife that I brought up once, she asked me once, she's like, listen, I heard you talking about your kids over and over and over again, but I haven't heard you mention your wife. And then, it just brought up to attention that, the best thing that you can do for your kids, better than, having the money for work, better than having things around the house prepared and done up. That's all good and nice, but the best thing you could do is give them a healthy home where both parents have a healthy relationship. That's literally the best thing that you can do. So if we're investing time in everything else, I think we need to really remember how important it is for us to make sure that we invest that time in growing our love consistently.
Yes, and to answer the question, do you think love can thrive without intentional time and attention? I don't think anything can thrive without intentional time or attention. It's kind of like having a plant. I mean, I'm not really a plant person, but I mean, I have gotten plants, right? And I don't give it the right attention. I don't have a green thumb, but like you just have to give it time and attention for anything in this world to thrive.
Yeah, no, I mean intentional, right? We want, if you want to get a raise at work, you're gonna put a little more effort, a little more time, do some extra work, do some extra hours, do some extra tasks. If you want to get healthier, if you want to build muscle, you're gonna start following a stricter diet. You're gonna start making time to go to the gym, not because you want to, not because you want to eat broccoli, not because you want to make time to go and start running on a treadmill. None of that is necessarily fun. You're doing it for the outcomes in many of the times, but you get the reward, with us. Sometimes it is difficult to take a Friday night, a Saturday night to go out because it's like, man, but then on Sunday we got to do this, or we still got to get this done, or the kids this and that, or we can't find the babies. Like there's always going to be barriers, but if you understand the value of being intentional to maintain that love in your relationship, the return on that effort is most valuable. Number 2, how do you feel when someone how do you feel when someone consistently makes time for you?
I mean, as a woman, right? I mean, I think you like it too. I definitely like when you make time for me. It makes me feel special. And like I said before, just thinking back when we were just dating and just newlyweds, I used to love, and I still love it, right? When I could tell that you were putting in the effort to make that time for me, when you surprised me, just plan like special dates. I remember sometimes you did like a treasure hunt kind of thing, and then I used to make collages, like little things like that. We used to kind of try to get to know each other like a little bit better to see how we could make the other one feel special by saying, hey, I'm gonna do this because I know you like this. And I love it when you used to give me that. You still give me that special attention, but I feel like there was that time when I wasn't feeling that way, and that definitely brought me down. Like it brought my self-esteem down. I'm like, oh, he doesn't love me anymore. He loves the kids more than me. And that was just not the case. It was also me not verbalizing like what was happening, or maybe I didn't know exactly what was happening, but I knew that it wasn't like it was before, and it was definitely having an effect on us.
So now we're gonna go. Little by little. And thank you so much, babe, for opening up. Is something that I know so many couples go through, and maybe like I said, these conversations haven't really come up. They're a little difficult to come up sometimes because it can open up a can of worms. And one thing that we would like to advise is to be able to stop playing the blaming game. Remember, it's not you and me against each other, but it's us against everything else, that's trying to break what God has put for us, the blessing that God has given us, which is each other, our marriage. I think it's a great question. How does it make you feel when somebody makes time for you? Being intentional is also making time. The busier we get, if you're waiting for it to be spontaneous, maybe that time, there's a time for that. But you can't wait. You can't wait for those emotions to arise and for you just to suddenly wake up one day and be like, today we're gonna go eat ice cream because I feel like it. No. It has to be intentional. You have to put it on the schedule, feel it or not. Because the thing is that, kind of like I said, going to the gym. Maybe at the moment it's difficult to get up and get ready and make time because all you think about is all the other things you have to do. But once you get in there and you start doing it and you come on, you feel the value of everything you've done and the growth that comes with that time. You definitely find the value in it.
And we took a class that helped us a lot when we're going through moments of just not prioritizing our relationship, and it was about communication. And in this class, I remember that they said, make sure that during the month, they said, I remember, like, make sure you're saying schedule a date. habits that, it could be something simple, not necessarily going out to like a fancy restaurant, just something simple. But as long as you have that alone time that you're able to just engage with each other, that's going to make the world of a difference in your relationship. And the other one was like depart, go out of town, travel. And again, not necessarily meaning that you have to go take a flight to like, another state or anything, but just get out of town. Just
change of scenery.
Yeah, change of scenery. And that it has helped us a lot.
Yeah, and it continues to help us. And again, and you're basically going to how I wanted to kind of close this episode is basically just giving you the little tips that we do, It doesn't have to be wild, doesn't have to be expensive. One of the couple of things that we do, we're foodies. So we have our spots. It makes it special. There's a few spots that we have that are zoned for you and me. A couple of them we did share already. But we love you guys for our friends that are our couples, friends that know some of the spots that we go to. But little things like that, they're just little spots that we never even take the kids. Just so that they're our own little place. So we're very foodies. Café Negro Show. Café Negro Show is intentional. This is not something we're creating because we have nothing to do. This is something that has been in our hearts, but also is meant to grow our relationship. These discussions, like we said, sometimes unless you're intentional, they're very easy to miss out and not have. But this podcast allows us to have these conversations, to think of subjects that have blessed our relationship, and hopefully can bless you guys as well.
Yeah, and to finish, I just want to go back to the verse that we referred to earlier. Two are better than one. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up, which implies that there are going to be times where one of you will be stronger than the other. So, and it's that time that God calls us, because we are a team, to help the other one up, not to rely on just, he's not doing this for me. But maybe it's that time that God has made you stronger, and it's time, we're not against each other. We are a team. So it's time to help each other so we could be stronger in our marriage. And then the end of the verse says, a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken, which we take it as God, right? Always putting God in the center of our marriage. So it's us and God with us to make our marriage stronger.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to our episode here at Café Negro Show. We would like to hear from you guys. I know there's a lot of couples listening to this podcast that have some healthy habits, things that you guys do intentionally to keep the love in your marriage. Thank you so much for allowing us in your home, in your cars, wherever you're listening to this right now. We will continue to follow up with different episodes where we talk about faith, family, and everything in between. Once again, if you have not yet, please subscribe, like, and share on YouTube. We're on Instagram and Facebook. It allows us to spread the word a little more and just be more effective in what we're doing.
Yes, thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to make room for love.